Hey guys, and welcome back to the Jared Report, where we discuss everything that we love pop culture, from movies to TV shows. So, I just got back. We went and saw Spider Man Brand New Day. Now, there is a lot of hype around this film. It's been 5 years since we've seen Spidey on the big screen. And overall, I would say that it is a great Spider Man film, a good superhero movie overall. Now, that being said, like I said, overall, this is a good movie, and I did have a great time. It's a fun summer blockbuster. But there was something I felt missing when I left the film. Like, I didn't leave it 100% loving it. I didn't feel on a high like when I had left Odyssey a few weeks ago. Now, I don't want that to sway anyone's mind. I don't want to talk bad about this film because there really is. There's not anything wrong with the movie. I don't know. There's just something missing about it for me. Overall, like comparing it as all of Tom Holland's Spider-Man films, I think it's the second best. It's way better than Homecoming or Far From Home. Obviously, there is no topping No Way Home for me. That is still one of the best Spider-Man films overall, one of the best MCU films overall. I mean, you have 20 years of culmination of everything just coming into one. You have Tobey Maguire coming back, Andrew Garfield, which his movies are extremely underrated in my opinion. So you had all of that going for it. There was a big grander scheme, like I don't know, international or universal like threat in that film. So maybe that's what was missing from Brand New Day for me, because this is a very grounded movie. And that's one of the parts I really enjoyed. Like, Tom Holland does an amazing job as always. Zendaya, I mean, everyone. There was not a bad performance in this film. It was very grounded. It was very interesting to see Tom Holland's character just completely struggle and just having that empty feeling for just being gone for 4 years, being with no one but himself, just throwing himself into Spider-Man. So I really did enjoy the grounded aspect that this film had. I know a lot of people have complained about Tom Holland's movies. There's just too much going on. We need to get back to the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. I've never really felt that. Like, I don't understand. It's not something that I'm yearning for. And I also don't think like having other characters like Iron Man or like big level threats in the Spider-Man films like deter away from Spider-Man. I've never understood that, where they're like, we need to get back to grounded Spider-Man. I just want him facing the average Joe in the neighborhood. Because, we grew up with that with Tobey Maguire. Andrew Garfield's films as well just had Spider-Man and his villains. And I feel like in the MCU, like we're covering a whole universe. We're covering a world full of superheroes. So it just makes sense to have other characters in it. I've never understood that appeal, and I've never understood people's complaints about that. Um, but it was great to, get back to the basics. And overall, it was really sad to see Peter just so down and just lost in his work. Now, I'd like to get into some of the things that I really liked, and then I'll finish off with some of the things that I didn't. I wouldn't say not like, but maybe a little more disappointing. I am going to be going into full spoiler detail. I will be honest, guys, and maybe this is another aspect as to why I wasn't walking out of there on a high. But if you've seen the trailers, you're not really missing anything from the movie. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm not trying to be hard on the film. I just felt like there wasn't any big reveal. And we all know who Sadie Sink's character was going to be. There was no surprise there. We've known for months. I mean, I don't know why Marvel decided to try to keep it under wraps and just hide it this whole time. And I will talk a little later about Sadie Sink's character and maybe why I felt like something was missing. I felt like we could have gone deeper into her character lore, maybe explain why she was actually there. But just wanted to warn you, I am going into full spoiler detail. So if you've not seen the film, you've been warned. Now, let me start off by saying there is a ton more things that I enjoyed about the film than what I didn't enjoy about the film. So I will start off by saying that. One of the things that I absolutely loved was feeling like being in Insomniac's PlayStation Spider-Man game. Like Tom Holland is swinging around. We're really just getting to know the city. Even throughout the film, Spidey is swinging around and he's answering phone calls. You know, he takes a phone call from Frank Castle and is talking to him. He takes a few more too throughout the film, and even him and that cop are going back and forth. They kind of have a relationship, and it was just great. As someone who's played the video games, and if you've played them, you will feel the same way. It was very immersive. Another thing, the performances were just great all the way around. I felt like Zendaya did absolutely amazing. Her and Peter's relationship is very complicated in this, and there's even one scene where Sadie Singh's character, Jean Grey, is mind controlling her, and Peter doesn't know it. And they're on this rooftop, and she's like, you know, I want to see, and lifts up his mask and gives him a kiss, kind of very reminiscent of Tobey Maguire's movie where he's hanging upside down and he kisses MJ. But after they kiss, she's like, "Oh, Peter, like I knew it was you," and like really led him on in this scene. And then next thing you know, she's toying with his emotions, and that was just very, very gut wrenching. And even later down the film, when him and MJ are speaking again and she found his note that he wrote to her in No Way Home, he's like, "I love you, I've not been able to live without you." And she's like, I don't know you. I don't love you." And I think it was very realistic. I'm glad that they went with that approach rather than, "Oh, everything's fine, forget the spell. We're just going to keep moving on as if nothing ever changed." So it was heartbreaking because we're rooting for them as a couple. You're rooting for Peter, you're rooting for MJ, uh, but the performances were just great. Like I felt like this was Zendaya's best performance throughout all of the films. Tom Holland is great as always. I mean, he's probably the best Spider-Man in my opinion, even though his Spider-Man films aren't like my top favorite. I mean, obviously No Way Home and Brand New Day too. I'd say like No Way Home and then Brand New Day. Like that would be the order that I put them in, and then you could do Homecoming and Far From Home in any order. Those are more of the forgettable films. But Tom Holland is a great Peter Parker. He's a great Spider-Man. He is better than Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield, in my opinion. Of course, Toby, he has that nostalgic factor. It's the Spider-Man I grew up with, so he'll always hold a special place in my heart. But Tom did great as always. I forget the actor's name that plays his friend Ned. He's always great. Like he is that little gem throughout each movie, and just seeing some of the moments he has with Peter and even the way they end the film with their handshake, it's always great to see him. And Spidey's and the Punisher's relationship, like them going back and forth, I want to find out what happened on Staten Island. I'd like to see just like a one-off 20-30 minute episode on Disney Plus of that. But Frank Castle, John Bernthal is amazing in everything that I see. And he did great in here. I loved him and Tom Holland's relationship. It was cool to see, Bruce in here again. And that leads me into my next point, guys. The Hulk is back. Forget this fucking Professor Hulk that they tried to push on us. And I mean, I won't get too much into it, but I'm just glad the Hulk is back. I was a little worried at first because when Jean is mind controlling him and Peter ends up coming and damage controls like headquarters, it's like the Professor Hulk again, just like talking to him. And I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here? I saw in the trailers that, we're back to Hulk smash. That's what I want. I don't want this bullshit Professor Hulk anymore. And thankfully, we do eventually get to that. So it was great to see Hulk back, and he looks fucking beefed. Even Spidey says to him in one of the scenes, he's like, "I didn't know you could get that big." Yeah, we forgot because they made him into a big old just I don't even want to get into it. Just great to see that we have Bruce Banner, we have Hulk back. Let's keep it that way. That was one of the biggest disappointments that Marvel has ever done, from those first three phases. Those first three phases are the golden age of Marvel. That was one of, them dropping the ball moments. But, let's get back to form. Let's keep Hulk Hulk. So overall, performances were great. We had some really good action. I think the storyline is pretty solid. It was great to get that grounded feeling in a Spider-Man movie again. You know, to touch on my same point that I said earlier, I don't need Spider-Man to be the friendly neighborhood hero. I enjoy a larger universe with multiple heroes and villains from throughout Marvel comics. But it was cool to see that again because it's very reminiscent of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. So I did enjoy that. Now, let's get into some of the things that maybe I didn't enjoy as much. And I might be nitpicking here, but Sadie Sink does a great job. She's amazing in everything that she does. I wish we would have got a little more time with her. Like I feel like she's this big mystery throughout like a huge part of the film. We get a few scenes with her here and there, with her sister Sarah, and finally, the one thing that was pissing me off throughout the film was they were making Jean just like a mind controller, like for like more than the first half of the film. And I was like, guys, this is the Dark Phoenix. This is fucking Jean Grey, one of the most powerful characters in the comics. She's a little more than just a mind controller. And thankfully, at the end of the film, we got to see her true capabilities. And even when she like froze that 1 kilometer like within Manhattan, um, like everyone was frozen, and they even panned to like Ned and MJ, and they're just like frozen there. And it kind of reminded me of the early X-Men films when Xavier would be able to just like freeze the crowds and things of that nature. So little Easter egg there. I don't know if they were trying to do that intentionally, but it was good to finally see that she came to that Dark Phoenix level power, that she has in the comics. And I'm sure we'll get more of that down the road once we finally get introduced to the X-Men. But I wish we would have had a little more time with her character. I wish they would have maybe explained things a little more, because all that we know is her and her sister were just like some foster kids that grew up in the system. There is no like explaining like where has she been this whole time? Did she get her powers after the blimp? Because I might go off on an X-Men tangent here, but I'm just wondering how we're going to do X-Men in the MCU, because I'm thinking we're either going to have to bring them in from another universe, or there's going to have to be an event that sparks this whole mutant race. Like where's Charles been? Where has Magneto been this whole time? If they decide to do that, I'm thinking they're either going to bring them in from another universe, or like the blimp, because they had referenced that the lady from Captain Marvel, she was like the little girl in that, and then was in WandaVision and then the Marvels movie. She had got her powers after the blimp, and then I think they kind of um, referenced it like to Camilla Khan, like getting her powers too after the blimp. So I don't know if that's going to be like the event where mutants came from. I don't know if the event's going to be after Doomsday and Secret Wars. I'm just very like, I'm nervous how they're going to try to introduce the X-Men into the MCU. I mean, we should have done it from the start, but I know, there's Fox and then Disney, and there was that whole thing. They didn't have the rights to the character. It's the same reason we're still having Sony produce these Spider-Man movies. But I wanted more explanation. Like, where did Jean Grey come from? Was she here the whole time? Obviously, I don't think she's from another universe. But there wasn't a lot of questions answered. And even like with Peter's mutation, like he's just randomly starting to get these urges and his DNA is mutating, but they kind of just like throw it a way to like, oh, he was just under a lot of stress. He's been depressed for 4 years, and when a spider gets really stressed out, it can change it. And I don't know if that's going to be the big explanation, but there was no explaining like his mutation. There was no real explanation with Jean Grey. And then even Damage Control is trying to like replicate her powers, which, we're trying to lay the groundwork for the mutant saga where this is like a race of people that are hated, they're prosecuted. So they're laying the early foundations for that. But even that, like there's no explaining. They're just trying to get their powers. And obviously it's a government entity. They want this for themselves. Don't need much explaining with that. But I wish they would have explained some of these smaller elements, which, again, I know I'm probably nitpicking here, but would have enjoyed more time learning about those things. Another thing, too, like the hand was not even really involved in this movie. I feel like they really like promoted them in the trailer, even that like still image that we see in the trailer where Spidey is like going to attack that whole group of them, and it's just like the shot in the air. That was just a one-off, like just like montage sequence that we see in the beginning of the film. Like I felt like they were built up to be more involved, and then they were just like thrown to the side. And even a lot of the Scorpion, and then like I think his name's Tombstone, one dude who's like gray skin and like really weird haircut. Um, like it was all just like a montage. Like we didn't really focus on any of that. So like I said, like if you've seen the trailer, there's not really much outside of this that we didn't know or see. And guys, we all knew Sadie Sink was going to be Jean Grey. I really, like I said earlier, I don't understand why Marvel tried to hide it. They should have promoted it. Um, I, I don't understand it. And again, maybe that was just one of the elements that made me feel like something was missing. Anyway, I don't really want to talk the film down because overall I had a great time. It was a fun summer blockbuster movie, and I'm hoping nothing but the best for this film. I mean, we're tracking the box office is tracking around like $300 million for opening weekend, which I think is going to be an easy cakewalk for this. I mean, our theater was packed to the brim. So this movie is going to do great. Um, well, I guess I'll go into one last thing. That's, and maybe, I don't know, maybe I had too high of expectations, but I've complained about this before that we've had no build up to Avengers Doomsday. And even in this film, like there is no real setup. Even the post credit scene, like what a fucking waste of my 10 minutes to wait. The post credit scene was just the Spider-Man app that we had seen in the movie. It was just like a pixelated image of that, and it's like, where's Spidey at? And it pans out, and like the little dot, it's like cannot locate, and oh, Spidey's located over here. And then just at the end, Spider-Man will return in Avengers Doomsday. So I thought this was like Marvel's last chance to kind of build up, maybe give us a little something. Like obviously this is Spider-Man's movie, introducing Jean Grey. But again, guys, we just have had no build up to Doomsday. And I'm not talking about building up Doctor Doom as a villain, because I feel like there's a huge discourse going on where even Kevin Feige said something at Comic Con. He was like, I feel like we've had build up with Doom, which we haven't. But I'm not talking about the build up for the villain, because even with Thanos, like we had like a small little post credit scene, didn't really see him until Infinity War. Uh, but I mean, like a build up as a whole story. And I'm not even talking about the movie Spider-Man right now. I guess I'm just going to go on a little Marvel tangent. But think about the first Avengers film. We had the first Iron Man, the first Captain America, the first Thor movie, and each little thing in there was just building up to forming this team. And then we get the first Avengers film. After that, we get a few little projects, and then we get Avengers Age of Ultron. which was already kind of laying the groundwork that there's a little split going on with the team. And then we get the next Captain America movie where it's the Winter Soldier, uh, and he finds out that Bucky's alive, which leads us into Civil War. Like, we have these build up moments to the overall story where we're going in this phase of Marvel. And this newest phase that we've had, guys, we've just had a whole bunch of random one off fucking projects. I mean, think about the Marvels movie. Like, sure, there was that beast post credit scene, but nothing has really led up anywhere. We had a one off Hawkeye show. Are we ever going to see fucking Moon Knight again? I don't fucking think so. That whole show felt completely separated from the MCU. Have not heard one fucking thing since. We had the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, which kind of showed some of the aftermath, but like, it's just a whole bunch of random projects throughout this whole phase. We haven't had a cohesive storyline, and now we're going to get an Avengers film, which I'm not going to doubt the Avengers movie because there hasn't been a bad Avengers film yet. So I'm going to save and reserve my opinion until I watch the movie, but there has not been a build up to the story. I will die on that hill. I don't think there has. I'm not talking about the buildup of Doctor Doom as a villain. I'm just saying, as an overall story, we've just had a whole bunch of random ass projects, guys, that have led to absolutely nowhere. I guess we're going to finally get to see what's going on in Avengers Doomsday. But anyway, don't want to go too far into that. I know, kind of going off on a 4 minute tangent over here, but go see Spider-Man, guys. It is a very fun, a very solid movie. Some people are saying it's their favorite Tom Holland movie. Not for me. That is going to be No Way Home forever because there's just no topping that. You got 20 years of nostalgia built into that film. But overall, Brand New Day is a great Spider-Man movie. We're returning to form. This is a win for Marvel. I think this movie is going to do absolutely amazing at the box office. I won't be surprised if in a few weeks we hear that this film has already reached $1 billion because it just has those kind of legs. So great film overall. I had a great time. I'm nitpicking here, and I kind of wanted to go on a little Marvel tangent, but still excited for Doomsday. We'll see when we get there. But have you seen the new Spider-Man? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And if this is your first time on the channel, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button so you can see more content like this. Otherwise, I will see you on the next Jared Report. Adios, my friends.